So one person who could help us also understand this better would be, in my opinion, Mr. Alexis Neuberg, who is the president of ADEPT, the Africa Europe Diaspora Development Platform. He'll be a next speaker, and I'll just briefly introduce him. Alexis is the president of ADEPT, and ADEPT aims at amplifying the influence and impact of African diaspora individuals and development organizations in Africa and Europe, as their vision is a world where Africa, its people, and its diaspora are empowered and transformed. He came to Austria to study communications and founded the Radio Africa TV, which is a media platform based in Austria that also provides information about Africa. Alexis, I would like to invite you to share your intervention, but also maybe reflecting back to some of the points shared by Imelda and Mete around not only land land use and food security, but also around health security, business security, child protection, and of course the green transition. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Philomena, and I have to avoid to say that when I speak, at least maybe everybody is feeling tired like a little bit, but please again keep quiet, and we talk about two last topics. The first one will be decent work and informal sector in a digital world, and the second one will be the oft talked topic, migration and mobility. When we talk about decent work and the informal sector in a digital world, we are talking about transforming Africa's informal economy for decent work. And we are saying that African Union and European Union partnership shall tackle the factors that drive a sustain informality and promote decent work opportunities for all, as in the LO recommendation N2004. Informal workers' representation should be promoted with the support of trade unions. Let's say access to social protection for all, including floors, is key to formalize jobs and to break the cycle of poverty and its feminization. Funding social protection until ODA and the fighting tax avoidance, illegal financial flows, and corruption. Pursuing a fair regulated digitation climate through inclusive and collaborative governance arrangements will preserve the rights of people, especially women, youth, migrants, rural and indigenous, that are the margins of digital coverage, but dominant in the informal sector. We need to support business organizations in creating initiatives to create jobs, access to finance, and push to formalize the economy. Attention, ladies and gentlemen, should be given to the capacity building and to update the whole value chain with will clean to create more decent jobs and to support rural economy and enhance a dialogue between all stakeholders, support a just transit to a green, blue, and digital economy. So when we say about this point, the session focus on sustainable development of Africa borderlands through the formalization of informal cross-border trade in 2 points: decent work and social protection for all, and the better trade. When we talk about decent work and social protection for all, we mean decent work, including the right to organize and the social protection for all, is a precondition of an African small-scale cross-border trade to contribute to inclusive growth, respecting people's rights and the environment. All stakeholders, including informal cross-border workers, organizations, and trade unions, shall be involved in the design of public policies, prioritizing formalization, decent job creation, with particular attention to the women, youth people, and vulnerable groups, the safeguard and local livelihoods. Cross-border traders organizations shall be reinforced once again. And let's say then the second point in this topic is to better trade. The African Union and European Union partnership should ensure that the trade, including cross-border trade, promotes decent work, a just transition to a green, blue, digital economy through the development of technical capacities and the exchange of good practices. This would require commitment to better trade and hard in effective trade governance with adequately financed borders, infrastructures, and support services, considering specific contexts and realities. An inclusive and collaborative governance arrangement is needed, especially to preserve rights of those at the margins of digital coverage. The second topic will be the migration and mobility. And we all know that this topic is in all politics, all countries as a topic. But when we say about this topic, we mean 3 or 4 points. We are talking about governance, we are talking about pre-enhanced approach, we are talking about a humanitarian approach and sustainable solutions. When it comes to the point governance, a partnership of equality between Africa and Europe will require a participative and inclusive approach enriched by lessons learned. This implies a new collaboration framework that duly incorporates African priorities on free movement involving CSSOs in the implementation from design to monitoring, owing the constant dialogue. Only such organization and relationship paradigm shift would guarantee countries' ownership and the policy coherence, transparency, and accountability. The approach centered people-centered approach. We call for a people.
Reminder on the time as well.
Yeah, that is the 2 points, and I'm finished. We call the partnerships based on the dignity and African people priorities and aspirations. We want a right-based, long-term approach to migration, focusing on the harnessing this positive aspect and directing funds to sustain an inclusive development. This will require implementation of previous commitments on facilitating circulation migration, broadening the scope of the labor migration channel, reducing remittances costs, and promoting the diaspora engagement. That is to say on this. The successful African Union and the European Union partnership will require a human needs and right-based approach to migration policies based on international human rights law and global compact. This amplifies access to service, durable solution, and the protection of migration, irrespective of the legal status and the family. It is equally important to include local and diaspora voices, more specifically those of displaced women, children facing multiple and disadvantages in human response. The last point, that is maybe not last but not least, is solutions, sustainable solutions. There is a reason why, ladies and gentlemen, we call for a long-term solution based on African Union and the European Union partnership, pushed by the radical willingness to create a sustainable solution addressing local and regional challenge. It has become evident that using financial support to sustain migration to Europe is not constructive. The EU and AU should focus on supporting and funding evidence-based program assisting the displaced population, women-led, and the women's rights organizations, family and the children organization working in the front line, and the diaspora organization responding in the humanitarian setting. So thank you for your attention. I knew that at least people will say it has been long, but not. So
no, thank you so much,